welcome to We Don't Have Cookies, Martial Law Edition, with your host, Jason Marshall. All rise. The Honorable Jason Marshall, presiding.
Thank you, Bailiff Maya. Welcome to Martial Law. Today, the plaintiff is Mama Kate. She's here today because she is upset that the defendant, ChooChooStu, came into our great nation of the United States of America, all the way from London, England, and not just anywhere in the United States of America. He came to Michigan, and for those not familiar, we live in Ohio.
Yeah.
About 3 hours away.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
not far is what we're saying.
yeah.
Look at that on a map if you need to.
And before the proceedings start, I just want to say, ChooChooStu, I want to make sure that you know that I am not biased in any way, even though I can't fathom what your defense could possibly be. I don't want you to not try as hard as possible, because quite frankly, you should.
Yeah.
So.
It feels personal. That's what we're saying.
So, I'm going to let Mama Kate give her
But you just
her side of the argument.
I mean, you just said it all.
Yeah, but we got to do something.
We do these shows together.
You can introduce me.
We thought we were part of the podcast family, ChooChooStu. We thought we were the Pottern family, but yet you don't even come visit your Ohio cousins. You're like, no, fuck you. I'm headed to Michigan and straight to Canada.
Pod and Family was so 2016,
That's true.
isn't it? No,
Apparently, he's just like, fuck them all. I'm big time now. So I'm just going to do my thing and not care about anyone else's feelings, Stu. That's what I hear. I don't care about your feelings.
I'm a bit nervous here in my part of the court.
But anyway, what say ye to these charges, Stu?
As in
Yeah.
guilty or not guilty?
Yeah. First of all, how do you plead?
I plead not guilty
Okay.
for a start.
Because
Although
you did come to
I
Ohio.
am guilty of not. I am guilty of not coming to Ohio. I'm guilty of that, but I plead ignorance. Really, that is my
Because
plea.
you didn't know where Ohio was? That it was so
Well, I
close
didn't
to
know
Michigan?
Ohio was in America.
We are the great Buckeye State.
We do have a pretty thick Caribbean accent.
Yeah, I can understand why you would think that.
Sorry, Mon.
Hey, Mon.
Now you see, I've got a brother that I don't go to visit half as much as I should do, and he lives on an island on the Isle of Wight, which is just off the south coast of England, and it's about an hour and a half to 2 hours drive plus the ferry, and that's quite a long way.
Yeah, but
for
your
me.
brother's probably an asshole, and we're great people you've never met before. So, I mean,
So
why would you come to Ohio, Stu? Why?
I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it was so close. Honestly, I didn't realise Detroit was so close to Canada, which is where I was. I was going to Canada after all,
Yeah.
and Detroit was just my landing point. Yeah, just so happened there. Had I stayed a bit longer, but anyway, that's my reason.
How long
because
were you in the U.S.?
about 6 days.
6 days?
But
6
not in the
days,
US.
and you didn't have time to come to Ohio? Come on.
I would have done. In hindsight, I would have done. Definitely, like now looking at the map, I see a place called like Toledo,
Mm-hmm.
Columbus, I've heard of, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I've definitely done all of those places.
My daughter's
Yeah.
at school right by Toledo.
We're a suburb of Cincinnati. We went over that on a show nobody heard.
Because Jason forgot to hit record.
We just did an hour show that didn't get recorded. Yeah, so I would like to know what your defense would be. Again, I'm completely unbiased.
Okay, but
I don't want you to think my questioning is showing any kind of tendency to how I'm going to rule on this case.
didn't it ever occur to you when you were like, hey, I'm going to the United States. Maybe I should see where this Ohio place is. Maybe we could get together. That clearly were not in your thoughts at all. And that's what really upsets me, Stu. So really breaks my heart.
my two main concerns about entering the United States was they hand out guns basically at the airport. If you haven't, they ask you if you've got a gun. If you haven't got one, they will arm you with at least one.
Especially when you go to Detroit, because it's really just for your protection. There are bears taking over some of the abandoned places.
But you want to, if you want to buy a 6-pack of beer, right? Mm-hmm. Or like, for instance, if I run out of beers and wine or whatever, I would go down my supermarket or just down the road 24 hours a day. I can buy a bottle of wine, case of beers, and a bottle of whiskey or whatever I want, all in the same shop. Within 5 minutes, I've got hundreds of places that sell it. Now, over there, they'll hand out a gun to me, but they won't trust me with buying a bottle of whiskey in the same store as you can buy cans of beer.
Yeah, they do have state stores. But here in Ohio, we have this thing called the drive-through, which I didn't realize until I traveled a little bit that these were not things that are all over the place, where you actually just pull up in this garage type of dwelling place. And it's just full of beer and pop and cigarettes and chips and candy. And somebody comes up and they're like, what do you want? And you're like, I want a 6-pack. And they're like, okay. And they hand it to you and you pay them and you drive off. It's like, it's like McDonald's for beer.
Is it like some old shack, like with this fella with a bit of straw hanging out the corner of his mouth, and he's wearing these dungarees?
Some of them. You can pull up there smoking a joint, and they'll be like, "What do you want?"
Rolling papers, obviously. Which they have those
and
too.
A lot of them now sell like bowls and bongs and stuff in there. I mean, you can really get anything.
Mm-hmm. And liquor, as long as it's a certain percentage. They sell Mad Dog and stuff like that.
I say over here, it's just so easy to get it. But
if somebody had come to Ohio, we could have shown you the drive-thru and how magical they are.
Well, my thing is, and again, I don't want you to think I'm being biased here, but we could have just went up to Michigan and met you at the airport. We could have went to IHOP, and then you could have went to Canada. We wouldn't have had to take a day out of it
but he didn't even tell
like
us he was coming. Nothing. No communications.
I know. In hindsight, I should have. I should have said yes. I mean, I nearly never made it to Detroit, to be honest, because I missed my connection in New York, because the Americans took so long. The queue was so long. The immigration. Yeah. It was like a mile-long queue, and then when I finally got to the front, the geezer that was like dealing with fingerprints and passports, he kept going off for a cup of tea or something. I don't know what he was doing. But he kept disappearing.
It's not tea, I can tell you that.
So, and then by the time he finished with me, I then had to go and find my suitcase and then line up again to get my suitcase searched because I had food in my bag. So by that time, I knew I'd well and truly missed my flight. But so then I had to stick around for about 4 hours, in that airport as well.
Yeah.
Before flying to Detroit. But so in hindsight, what I should have done is hired a car from Detroit and then drove myself down the 75.
Somebody's been looking at a map.
I kind of feel bad. I don't know if this is an episode of Martial Law or just the roast of ChooChooStu.
Can't help it. My feelings are hurt.
But next time, it's definitely got to be on my, it's got to be on my destination list.
I do want to say that I can tell the remorse in your voice.
There is much remorse, but then looking at the map, I might drive straight through Ohio and head on to Kentucky or maybe West Virginia.
So you're going to see Kenny Bolin before you come and see us.
There's so many places that I'd like to see. Nashville used to be one of my big ones. I'm not too bothered, but there's just so many places that I'd like to go and see. Knoxville. It's probably a shithole, but it sounds good.
I have family around Knoxville. I can tell you it might be one of the places you can just go ahead and cross off your list. It's a nice place. I just don't know if I would buy a ticket from the UK all the way over here.
Just to check it out. Yeah.
If you're driving through someplace, you might want to check out the mall or something. But all right. I think I've gathered all the information that I need. We're going to take a recess. When we come back.
Guilty.
When we come back, I'll have my ruling.
Guilty.
And I will also issue the punishment.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Hi everybody, guess who's back? You know what it's time for? Put your hands up. Come on everybody, put your hands up. It's time for everyone to put your hands up, up over your head. Can you do just what I say? Now turn around. Come on everybody, now turn around. It's time for everybody to turn around and face the wall. Can you do just what I say? Take your wallet and throw it in the bag. Take your wallet and also your watch and your jewellery. Hey, everyone's doing such a great job. I don't think anyone's gonna get hurt. Now lay down on the floor and be real still. Lay down on the floor and don't say a word. Lay down on the floor and close your eyes. Oi, that means everybody. Be a shame if someone had to get taken out this late in the game. Now do just what I say. For your own sake, do just what I say. Now, we are gonna go and hide. But while we do that, I want you to stay here and count really high. All the way to 1,000. As soon as you reach 1,000, you can open your eyes and go tell your friends everything we did today. But not before you reach 1,000, right? Ready? Here we go. Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.
1, 2, 3,
All rise.
Thank you, Bailiff Maya. It is my understanding that both parties have been removed from the courtroom for indecent conduct, which you can hear the start of by Mama Kate just prior to the recess. So I will be giving my ruling now, and both parties will have to listen to the podcast to find out the consequences of said ruling. For the matter of Mama Kate's charges of Stu flying from London, England to Michigan without coming to Ohio to visit her or myself, I find in favor of Mama Kate. Stu, I sentence you to sing the song, "We Don't Give a Damn About the Whole State of Michigan," and it must be submitted to the court in video form by Friday, October 19th, to be posted to the We Don't Have Cookies Facebook page, which listeners can like by going to facebook.com/We Don't Have Cookies. And if it is not received by that time, Stu, you will be suspended from the show indefinitely. I would also like to let the listeners know that I've included bonus content of this episode of the pre and post shows. There will be a link to that in the show notes as well. With that said, court is adjourned.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about all the fun we had and leave a review. See you next time.
ChooChooStu, I want to make sure that you know that I am not biased in any way, even though I can't fathom what your defense could possibly be.